This episode of the Tougies Take podcast is brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. Fellas, just because the winter is here does not mean that you get to slack on the grooming. You get to use code Tougie at manscaped.com for 20% off your order and free worldwide shipping to get the right tools for the job when it comes to all of your grooming needs. Of course, the lovely, fantastic Lawnmower 4.0 is still out there, still available for all of you with its fantastic skin-safe technology to make sure you never get one of those cuts or nicks. You never got to worry about taking that little bit of toilet paper to your sack. It's never going to happen again. You don't have to worry about it. It's also waterproof, even more so. So that way, if you're in the shower, you're good to go. Do what you want. Just clean your drain, you filthy animal. Do what you got to do. As well, of course, God, there's so much available at Manscaped. They've been so generous in sending so much our way as well that I could sit here and talk about it for days. The Weed Whacker for those pesky nose and ear hair. It's just, guys, it's top notch. That's the best way to put it. It is top notch. And again, thanks to our friends at Manscaped. Code Tougie at checkout. 20% off your order. Free worldwide shipping. Not to mention they have my favorite item, which is called the Plow. And it's a single blade, double-edged safety razor. It's called the Plow. The Plow. Anyway, again, thank you guys for listening to the show. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this episode. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Tougies Take podcast. Of course, we are back again. Us, the guys, the fellas. That will be a t-shirt one of these days. Endo, write that down.
Oh, okay.
We gotta make that a t-shirt and soon.
I have
and
live,
fast.
laugh, cry a lot. Is that better? Is that fine, or, you know?
We'll put that on a shirt, too, if we can trademark it. Endo is here, Sin is here, and we are back again to talk about our favorite sport, some good old stick puck. But first and foremost, how you fellas doing? Sin, how has your week been? I want a nice little check-in with what's going on with the fellas.
It's been pretty okay, you know. Not really a whole heck of a lot happened.
That's a good thing.
I've been kind of sort of hibernating after all the holiday stuff where I had to, you know, interact with people and be near other people and, you know, just kind of enjoying some of the old me time and unwinding from all that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Fair enough. Endo, have you had any requests to go shoveling as of late?
Oh my god. No. Excuse me. Burpee from the Dr. Pepper.
Praise Bill.
Praise Bill.
The inside joke that no
there was one more.
Get.
There was one more
I
in
don't
there.
even think Sin gets it because he's on the West Coast and the time doesn't line up. Anybody on Twitch, though? Anybody from the late night Twitch crowd? You know.
Oh, man.
You know what's happening.
Praise Bill. I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh, so I might actually be doing more. It's not supposed to snow until like next week. But if I go work with this group, I might be getting like basically paid when we don't have to work. If that's great. So like basically like being on call and stuff like that. So I've been basically on call waiting for calls to come in. And so far nothing. I'm surprised. We had a big snow day like 3 days ago. And Polina wanted to scoot the work. I'm like, you're not scooting the work in like the winter. What are you talking about? You go take transit. Besides that, I'm okay. How are you doing?
The exciting life of Endo Mills.
Honestly, there's
we'll get
nothing.
More updates.
There's nothing that is really exciting about me after everything that's closed down. I don't want to talk about it because I hate talking about it. But current situation with hockey. Yeah.
The thing is, I don't view having a boring week as a bad thing.
You know?
I haven't done much this week either. I went grocery shopping, and now we're getting about, a foot of snow outside.
Ooh.
Just living life, man.
There you go.
Just living life. Doing the best we can. So, yeah, hey, nice little check-in there. Speaking of checking in, though, how do you like that? How do you like that segue? I've been preparing for the return of this. We have some viewer questions today. Got these in a little bit late. It's been so long that I almost forgot to put out a tweet or a post about it. But hey, we have some viewer questions. Now, oftentimes, of course, we talk primarily about hockey. Sometimes we get into other topics if we have nothing to talk about, like the other week after Christmas when Endo sat there and Sin and I talked about football for a long time. Sin, of course, a Packers fan, big fan of the most vaccinated player, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Did you see that clip?
That's a violation of HIPAA to even mention it. Which
And that's not... Dude, Aaron Rodgers throwing a hissy fit over someone saying that they wouldn't vote for Rodgers because of his vaccination status and the circus that he caused. That's not even the most ridiculous thing that happened in the past couple of days in the NFL. We got asked about this.
Like, is he running for office or you mean for MVP?
Oh, God, I don't even know.
Is he getting
valuable
angry at
shit.
made-up circumstances now?
Probably. So Reds Rebel asked this question, and it is in regards to Antonio Brown and what happened with him and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, first and foremost, I want to say, the cheap plug here, of course, on occasion, if we don't get a chance to talk about stuff like this, if you subscribe on the Patreon side of things for as low as $1 a month to help support the fellas here, hey, the Took Talk episodes are up there where it's like, okay, hey, I'm just going to talk about this stuff here because we couldn't get to it on the show. And this was one of the things that I kind of mentioned the other day that I didn't want to talk about. But since you guys are here and since it continues to evolve, screw it. Now, for those who do not know, I don't know how you don't know. I mean, it's certainly transcended sports. You have Antonio Brown of the Buccaneers just walking back to the locker room in the middle of the game, taking off his pads and leaving, and is doing his best to burn every possible bridge on the way out for coaches, teammates such as Tom Brady and others that managed to stick up for him when he continued to kind of prove to some people that he had already had too many chances. I mean, for those who don't know Antonio Brown's history, I mean, you might not remember his name exactly, but he essentially crazied his way out of Pittsburgh, went to the Oakland Raiders, and that was a disaster, highlighted by him accidentally nearly freezing off his feet in a cryogenic chamber. That was interesting. He went to the Patriots for a game. I believe he caught a touchdown pass against the Dolphins and then got booted and then went to the Bucs and won a Super Bowl. He is an incredibly talented football player. But when it comes to the question here is who is more in the wrong, the Bucs or Antonio Brown? The Bucs have released him. He is officially a free agent. I just don't feel comfortable criticizing Antonio Brown for the sole purpose of there is a very fine line here between him just being an arrogant ass, but there is clearly mental health issues or just outright brain-related injury issue. Like, something is going on. This is not normal behavior, obviously. And I guess for some people, it's like, okay, where do you draw the line in terms of personal blame? And I don't know. So I don't really feel comfortable criticizing someone that is clearly not in the best headspace one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's really qualified to. I mean, I see just tons of speculation about, like, oh, the coach and the organization did it on purpose to keep him away from his bonus money. But then he says on Twitter, I don't know, he was commenting that, like, he was injured, and then he said, I don't know if I could play, and then the coach said, okay, fine, you're done or something. I don't know. Here's the thing. There's so much mixed info out there. None of us know what happens besides the players on that field, namely Antonio Brown and the coach and whatever. But yeah, I honestly, it's just his brain is it's gonna have to be studied immensely, because I definitely think there's some sort of severe brain injury happening. Like, this is kind of, this, like Tougie said, it's simply not really in the realms of, I won't even say normal. It's just not rational. A lot of his actions,
Yeah.
And that indicates to me that there is mental health issues at the very least, if not, some brain damage issues. I mean, just think of what we learned from Junior Seau, and he didn't he was just mostly in pain, and he never really had the lashing out or stuff like that. It affects everyone so much differently, but I mean, with some of the injuries that Antonio Brown has taken, it's incredibly plausible to be able to point your finger at some sort of brain related injury, and kind of, again, not necessarily that it gives him an incredible excuse, but at the same time, it's like none of us are qualified to make judgment on that.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. I will say I'm not judging him or the Bucks on the situation, but there is like allegedly damning evidence that like him going to appearing to a doctor and saying, "Hey, yeah, can you check out my feet?" and having an MRI done and all these scans saying like, "Hey, yeah, you got like cartilage like in your feet or whatever," and like you shouldn't be playing. And it just there's just so much, and I feel like the general public shouldn't have any say on this. It should be done through the organization and personally. We're allowed to say whatever we want at the same time, but I just don't think that we really do have the right to judge this situation without knowing 100% the whole entire story. Because there could be stuff that Antonio Brown's leaving out, there could be stuff that the Bucks are leading out. We don't know the whole story. We can only speculate. And I don't want to do the speculating.
I mean, like I said, it's that super fine line, right, between personal responsibility and what side of it is. It wouldn't matter if it was Antonio Brown in the NFL or somebody in the NHL. It's just like, it's almost like the culture, right, is to sit there and like, ooh, look at that train wreck. Can't turn away from looking at that. But at the same time, it's like you realize what it is, and it's like something's just not right there.
Yeah, another thing on that too, just quickly, is
go ahead.
Like we should. I can't remember what the word I'm trying to say is, but crap, I forgot what I was gonna say right when I said it. Anyways, we're good.
You blew it.
Yeah, I blew it.
Think of it, let me know. Next question comes from AJ. Who are your top 3 most hated players of all time? I presume he means for NHL-related purposes. Most hated players. Matt Cook, Alex Burrows, and Alex Burrows again. Those are my 3. And anybody come to mind for you, or are you still trying to think about what you forgot?
Yeah, both. Sin, you go ahead. I'm gonna take a minute to think of this one because I didn't really like pay attention to like hockey, like NHL hockey and stuff like that for a while. I always knew about like top players and everything, but I didn't know about who I really hated. Who was that one goddamn guy who kept he has like the most like suspended like games? Can't remember his name.
Oh, Raffi Torres?
Yeah, Raffi Torres. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Has the
yeah, Sean Avery.
I was gonna say,
yeah, fuck that guy.
I want to take Alex Burrows' second name off the list and add Mike Ribeiro. Special shout out to Scott Walker as well. I might be the only person who dislikes him, but oof.
I think who else?
There's quite a few players that come to mind.
There's one more. I'll say it after. Go ahead, son.
No, go for it. Just finish up.
No, I'm trying to figure out who the last guy is. I gotta dot my I's and cross my T's.
Okay.
Who's that Pokemon?
Yeah.
It's Pikachu.
Start giving us hints. Let's go. Start giving us hints.
Dustin Brown.
I can understand.
Drew.
Is there a specific instance as to why?
Yeah, every single time he elbows someone in the head or knees someone.
Fair enough.
Drew Doughty. Just cuz. It's the most severely overrated name in hockey is Drew Doughty. And it's not even close. All right, well, actually, Carey Price comes pretty freaking close. But I'm giving
shot. No, please note that was not the words of Tougie 24. That was the words of Mr. Sin for the win.
Man went first overall, and he's nowhere even close to Marc-Andre Fleury. Sorry.
Did he go first or go fourth? He went fourth.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, he went in the top 5 where a goalie should never, ever, ever.
Yeah, going fourth overall as a goalie might as well be going first overall.
Yeah, you're a goaltender. You should go in the second round and be honest. It should be illegal to take a goalie in the first round.
Yeah.
Anyways. Just
and
saying.
Your third player is the entire Vegas Golden Knights hockey team.
Oh, this is where I struggle because there's a lot of people that I hate on VGK, and it's also recency bias. It would probably be a tie between. Although I kind of have a soft spot for him since he no longer plays me directly, I guess it would be a tie between Marchessault and Corey Perry.
Ooh.
Okay.
Corey Perry was just annoying.
And Marchessault, from my understanding, is someone who runs his mouth a lot.
He's just a goddamn whiner. And then, yeah, he won't answer the bell. Whines about refs. I don't. I don't like him. That's plain it. Like, I legitimately don't like. I've never met the guy. He could be a wonderful human being, but just judging on like him saying to like someone on Instagram, like lashing out at them, being like "suck your mommy's teeth" or whatever the hell he said.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then
That's
his whole
happened a bit recently. Like he did that. Brad Marchand was going after people recently on Instagram.
yeah. What else? Yeah, and of course, you know, after the Game 7 thing where he doesn't want to take any personal responsibility for his team absolutely shitting the bed and just saying, "It's the rest there," you know. Sorry,
Was it Joe Pesci?
that was a really half-assed attempt at the French thing. Although I gotta say, my anger towards French Canada has subsided a bit since I stopped playing, Ishel. But I still hate Marchessault.
All I gotta say is right now, it would be the worst time to play Ishel right now because all of Quebec is on a lockdown and they have nothing else they can do.
No wonder why Hut's been fucking miserable for me.
Of course!
Jesus.
They can't walk their dogs, so they have to go play Ishel.
That better neck must get the cards.
Okay, my third one isn't a player. It is a player's specific action, if that counts.
Okay.
It's Dion Phaneuf's slap shot. Do you know how many players on the Toronto Maple Leafs roster have been injured because of Dion's slap shot, whether it's in-game or in practice?
Oh, no. He hurt Colin Greening. What are the Leafs going to do without him? What?
He's hurt so many people during practice.
Oh, no. Ben Smith got in the way. Our playoff hopes are really shot now.
Yeah, you know what? Ben Smith is the answer. Justin Pogge was the future.
Oh. Yeah, the future of the Charlotte Checkers, maybe.
You know what's really funny? I think I saw a tweet about this today. How Tuukka Rask is on an AHL professional tryout deal.
Way to just ruin the order of the show.
I'm sorry. I'm getting right to that because that's a big fucking thing. Because I'm going on this tangent. Justin Pogge is a front runner to start in net for the Canadian Olympic team at the Olympics.
Yeah.
That wasn't a bad trade now, was it, huh? That wasn't a bad trade now.
Oh, God. Canadian Olympic goalie versus AHLer. Yeah, honestly, I'll mention, since you brought that up, like, I didn't gather, like, the Olympic list, like, Owen Power will apparently play for Canada. The U.S. released some names. Until that's finalized, we're not talking about it because we're still a month away, and who the fuck knows what's going to happen with the games and whatnot. So, not even bothering talking about that yet. Yeah, we'll talk more about Tuukka Rask in a little bit. That's fine.
Sorry, I had to.
No. Ben Smith got hurt. God, Justin Pogge, by the way, playing in the German league, the DEL, with Cologne, where he has a .905 save percentage in 27 games.
That's my Pogge.
That's the guy. I need to see. Hold on, really quickly. I don't know how this keeps happening, but we always have to sit here and look up who's doing what in terms of these particular leagues. And Elite Prospects is really letting me down right now in terms of trying to find a player. There we go. There's your goalies. Leading save percentage in Germany. I mean, again, it was a .905 for Pogge, a .932 for Dustin Strahlmeyer. Put some respect on Dustin Strahlmeyer. God, Pogge has the 12th best save percentage in Germany. You can't even have a top 10 save percentage in Germany? No disrespect, but woof.
Hey, no, he can't do too good or else the Leafs are going to want him back, okay? He can't do too good.
Fair enough.
Really?
I mean, hey, he might be a more reliable backup.
Coming of Dominic Hasek. You guys are fine.
Oh, my God. Oh, my
We'll
God.
talk about that in a little bit, too. He might be a more reliable backup than Peter Mrazek, though.
Yeah.
Final question. And, I mean, we're going to kind of talk about some of the teams that are a little bit rough. If the deadline was today, who would be your sellers and buyers? And we get this question often throughout a season. And the answer, who's in a playoff spot right now?
Yeah, can we?
Those would be the buyers.
Can we narrow this down? I think we should go for who's looking to probably make the biggest splashes and who's going to sell the biggest pieces. I think we could do that.
So right now, in the Eastern Conference,
so general.
It is. So in the Eastern Conference right now, you have Washington, the New York Rangers, the Carolina Hurricanes, Tampa, Florida, Toronto, Pittsburgh, and Boston are in playoff spots right now. obviously all of them would look to buy. If you're talking about the team that is most likely to buy, I would say the Rangers have a pretty good shot because, let's be honest, they need a bit more depth to really kind of sustain that record. I would throw out the Florida Panthers, again, just being desperate to make it past Tampa this year. And I'd add the Boston Bruins, who are absolutely desperate, if not the most desperate team in the Eastern Conference. I don't know if any of you or either of you agree with that particular assessment. And then in terms of who a seller would be in the East, Montreal, because they are at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Montreal is below. Dude, Montreal has 18 points in 34 games.
Lol.
Ottawa has 20 in 29. Ottawa has 5 games at hand on Montreal and are 2 points ahead of them. Montreal's selling. And maybe the Islanders if they don't figure something out, which, I mean, the Islanders are 10 points out of a playoff spot right now, so I don't know if that's really going to work out. Western Conference. Nashville, St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, Anaheim, Calgary, Minnesota, and Edmonton in playoff spots. Who are the buyers? The Edmonton Oilers, because they're a tire fire. Doesn't take me to tell you that, does it? Like St. Louis, maybe? By the way, shout out to the Nashville Predators, who currently sit atop the Central Division. They are 4 points clear of Colorado, but the Avs have 5 games at hand because the NHL schedule has been obliterated.
Yeah, so
it's fairly obvious.
I'm just looking right now at Edmonton. I'm just going to go on a little tangent about Edmonton real quick.
Again?
Yes.
Gonna jump the gun?
Yeah,
just
I'm
keep
sorry.
jumping the gun.
I'm sorry. How do you have like that bad of a goals against average? Like not just like look at the goals against. Like just look blankly right here. They have 111 goals against in their entire season so far. There are several teams that are lower than them in the standings that have like 10 less, like 15 less than them. How are you going to be a playoff contender when your goalies are not doing great? Or when your defense is just not doing great? You are ruining one of the greatest generational players that we've had in the NHL.
Zach Hyman.
Zach Hyman! Yeah! No, McDavid. You're ruining McDavid and Draisaitl. I saw multiple articles saying like how they're ruining them, and it's no brainer. I'll have to write an article about it because it's pretty obvious. But it's how the hell? What? This is illegal. This should be a crime. Free those boys. Bring our boys home to another team that deserves them, and it's not the Leafs.
So yeah, buyers and sellers. Pretty obvious. Just look at the standings. Who heading into the season would you have said, oh, they're going to be a playoff team, and they're currently not? Good chance that they're going to be sellers. With that, of course, I want to thank you guys for sending in those questions. Of course, the Discord is the best place to do it. On top of that, I normally put up a Twitter post as well to cultivate these lovely questions that you send us. With that, let's move into our day by day. We have Tuesday. We only have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to talk about. Let's start off on Tuesday as the Boston Bruins beat the New Jersey Devils 5-3. It was beautiful. Curtis Lazar scored. That's right, Curtis Lazar is still in the league, everybody. He's a Bruin, and he has 3 goals. It's great. Oscar Steen scored his first NHL goal off of the most garbage crossbar bounce weirdness I've ever seen. But he's a pretty solid player. He deserves it. Trent Frederick scored, and we won't mention him at all for the rest of the podcast. David Pastrnak got his 9th as well. For the Devils, only really notable thing is that Nathan Bastian has 5 goals on the season now. Of course, Nathan Bastian was acquired by the Seattle Kraken, and then they just let him go. Because that's not another questionable move made by the Seattle Kraken.
Analytic move.
Yeah, analytics said get rid of Nate Bastian.
Yeah.
Nate Bastian has more goals this season than Marcus Johansson, than Calle Yarncroke, Colin Blackwell, Morgan Geeky, Mason Appleton, Riley Sheehan, has 1 fewer goal than Jaden Schwartz.
Yeah, but how many assists does he have?
Yeah, that's always the question. Let's find out for Nathan Bastian. Points don't matter when, at the end of the day, you need someone to score goals and Seattle can't. Nathan Bastian 5 goals, 2 assists for 7 points in 29 games, baby. Killing it. Crushing it. God damn it, Seattle. Listen to the last podcast if you want to hear us talk about how bad the Seattle Kraken are. The Florida Panthers beat the Calgary Flames 6-2. The Panthers at 22-7-4 as of this game. Anthony Duclair scored his 13th goal of the year. I always bring that up because Sin's always frustrated that maybe a team like San Jose couldn't have given him an opportunity. Patrick Hornqvist, 5th and 6th goals of the season. And Jumbo Joe Thornton with his 4th of the year. He just passed 1,700 games played for Joe Thornton. Sin, what a man.
What a legend. God damn, I miss him. Yeah.
Good friend of the show, Tymo, put up a graphic, and it's so weird because it's like, okay, there he is in a Sharks jersey. There he is in a Bruins jersey. And then there he is in a Leafs and Panthers jersey.
Yeah.
Sands of
Very
time.
weird, but, I mean, he's kind of become the Yager of the NHL. He's going to keep playing until someone doesn't offer him a contract, I'm pretty sure. But if he wins a cup, he's gone. He's off to Switzerland to live and play probably hockey until he's 60 years old.
Thornton, unless I am incorrect here for Quant Hockey, it looks accurate, is now 6th all-time in games played, just the 6th player ever to hit 1,700 career games. He is 31 games behind Ron Francis and 33 games behind Jaromir Jagr.
Wow.
Again, the Panthers 22-7-4, so he could pass Jaromir Jagr for games played. Obviously, if Jagr never left for the KHL, he would be all-time. Technically, if Thornton were to play next year, he would likely pass Patrick Marleau, who is number 1 at 1,779 games.
Yeah.
It's possible, but just insane longevity. I mean, especially, too, for a guy in Joe Thornton, who is, he's a big boy.
And he's had knee injuries, too. That's the trippy part, man. How the fuck is he still going?
Dude, his nickname's Jumbo for a reason. He's fucking 6'4", 220.
Yeah.
Has knee injuries and is still somehow in the league.
And not just that, still loves the game. And that's why he's still in the league. Like, the man clearly loves the game. He loves being at the rink, and that was always apparent no matter where he went. And unfortunately, I think a lot, and I'm not just going to harp on other teams. I think a lot of teams and fan bases, they don't, especially the ones where he's only there for like a year, they did not understand what the hell they had. And I don't know. I feel like he's just was not appreciated enough. And I'm guilty of that too. Looking back at like how freaking lucky I was to watch that man play in his prime for all those years was just absolutely. I mean, we got him at what age? 25, 26. So right as he entered his prime, and we got all those years out of him. And it's tough to look back on when you don't win a cup, but you have to, like, at the same time, it's like that's one of the best players of all time. And I got to watch him.
And you know what I got to watch? You know what I got to watch instead? Fucking Wayne Primo.
Oh, yeah.
For 101 games, fucking Wayne Primo. Brad Stewart for 2 seasons, a season and a half. And then Marco Sturm, who was great and scored the 2010 Winter Classic game-winning goal. But god damn it. We can't talk about the Bruins on this show.
It's old-time hockey, boys. Trades and stuff, and hockey was just much better before any sort of analytics. That trade right there is all the evidence.
Yeah, great analytics on that trade.
Jesus, John Tortorella was like, that's a real hockey trade. You know, you get a couple tough guys, one on the back end, one on the...
God, the analytics of the trade.
Oh, boy.
For the Flames, though, in the loss, Johnny Gaudreau, 14 goals on the year. He's been good for Calgary. He's been real good. I still think they are very much in that same spot where it's like, okay, what the hell are you going to do? Because Johnny Gaudreau's deal is up at the end of the year. He's a UFA. They are currently in a playoff spot, and obviously the talk was with, Daryl Sutter being the coach. It's like, oh, well, Johnny Gaudreau, does he fit? But Johnny Gaudreau has upped his defensive game this year. He's still putting up points. I don't know what the hell Calgary's going to do, though, still. Like, you know, like, is this core revitalized now that somehow Daryl Sutter, as Sins mentioned on the show before, has been able to actually, like, adapt himself to the modern game?
It's impressive.
It is.
I never thought the man had it in him. Like, he was a hard-ass coach back in the 90s when he coached the Sharks, man. Like, and imagine that sort of mentality in today's game. It just simply wouldn't work, but he's found a way. God darn it.
That is a 63-year-old man from Viking, Alberta.
Wait, he's only 63?
Yeah. He's been around for a long time, dude.
Yeah.
His, oh my God.
I didn't know. I figured he was like almost 70 by now. That's kind of younger than I thought.
So, Daryl Sutter's staff history. Became head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks at age 29 on June 21st, 1988. That was his first NHL head coaching gig. He was the coach of the Blackhawks for 6 years until 1995. Then became head coach of the Sharks from 97 to 02. Mm-hmm. Even then, 02 only brought him to age 44. Wow. Was the head coach of the Flames for 4 years, went to a Stanley Cup final, became the GM of the Flames in that time as well for a 7-year span, coached the Kings to 2 Stanley Cups, served as an advisor to the Ducks for 2 years, now is coaching the Flames again. Daryl Sutter. That
hell
is
of a career. That's a hell of a career.
I mean, like I said, you know, the 2 Stanley Cups there. You talk about probably should have been 3 with Calgary. Sorry, Flames fans. Yeah, no, ridiculous coach. Speaking of ridiculous, the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 7-2. Are you noticing a theme? Like, after this holiday season and everything that's been going on with postponements, there are a ton of high-scoring games going on in the league right now. Like, defense and goaltending need not apply. I don't understand, to be honest. Andre Palat scored 2 goals. He's up to 12 on the year. Corey Perry scored his 9th of the year. Somehow still effective. Like, you think he might be cooked, and it's like he bounced around, right? Like, what? He went from Dallas to Montreal. Now he's in Tampa, and of course he's doing well. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I mean, that's just in the last couple of years, though. He's just basically been signing league minimums, bouncing around because he's got that. I think he still might be making that buyout Ducks money, or maybe it's up by now, but
definitely got to look that up.
Yeah.
Now. Should mention, too, for Tampa, Braden Point, 11 goals, Alex Killorn, 10. I'll jump ahead to their next game that happened on Thursday because it's worth noting something. That being that in this time, right, in this time with the Lightning, on Thursday they also beat the Flames 4-1, so the Flames have dropped a couple. Perry scored his 10th, Palat his 13th, Point his 12th, and Killorn his 11th. Like, all the key players are heating up. And what's that? With the win, they moved to 23-8-5. Thursday's game was Nikita Kucherov's first since October 16th. They are 23-8-5. He also had 2 assists in that game against Calgary.
I kind of hope they win another cup. Well, no, I don't. I want Florida to win the fucking cup. But if they did, I would kind of be like, we need a modern day dynasty. Like, we need something to be able to. And Lightning fans just don't bug me nearly enough for me to hate the idea of them being considered a dynasty.
Fair enough. Oh, and you were correct, too. Corey Perry is still counting for $2 million against the Ducks salary cap for this year and next.
Jeez.
That said, they still have like $11 million in cap space.
I mean, they're not going to have to sign Zegras for that long. So, I mean, perfect.
Yeah, and Troy Terry's deal isn't up until Perry comes off the books, and then he's an RFA anyway. So
honestly, I don't think we're talking enough about how well the Ducks have handled this rebuild. They've done a kind of a masterful job, if like just because of the result now this year. I mean, holy crap! And the way the financials are lining up too. I mean, it could be a good team in that about 3 years. I think they could be a serious contender.
Yeah, well, I mean, right, you think like Comtois and Lundstrom, 22, Terry's 24. They've finally, like, Sonny Milano's finally figured it out. He's only 25. Sam Steele is 23. Drysdale on the back end. Like, I think this year, you know, they probably take maybe one more defenseman to try and get into the mix. But yeah, no, I mean, the Ducks are set up stupidly well. And for as much as we like every Eastern, like Endo can speak to this as a Leafs fan. Every Eastern Conference team dreaded it, the California road trip.
Yeah.
And for a short, especially Leafs fans.
Oh my God, you have no idea. Oh man.
It was brutal. And then for like this brief little window, it's done. All three of them are bad. It's okay. They can't hurt us anymore. And that lasted for like 2 seasons.
Oh my God.
It's outrageous. Like the Kings have rebuilt so fast. The Sharks might not have as many prospects because I think they kind of maybe sort of hung on a little bit more. Or as in like their window extended a little bit further than the Kings and the Ducks. Granted, I think the Ducks made the playoffs and like when they played the Oilers, but like you get the point.
And then the year after the Sharks swept them, and that was the end of the Ducks there.
So it's crazy. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous just how well they've done to hang on.
Essentially,
California teams,
both of them, it's been like a 3-year reset because it was the Kings and Ducks. The last time they made the playoffs was the year that this was the year Vegas jumped into the league. Kings got swept by Vegas. Sharks swept the Ducks, I think. Or they beat... Did they... I can't remember exactly how the Kings and Vegas series went. But yeah, that was the year. And then the Sharks met the Vegas in the second round. And that was the last year, I think, both the Ducks and the Kings were in the playoffs, which was 2017. But here, 4 years later, they're both threatening. The Ducks are looking almost like a shoo-in, dare I say. That's a 3-year turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
Only in California, baby.
That and the New York Rangers.
Buffalo.
the largest cities, aside from Chicago, have kind of struggled since getting pooped on by Nashville 5 years ago. Yeah. Well, then again, Chicago did make the playoffs and knocked out Edmonton during the bubble.
Lol.
So you can't keep these markets down.
Oh man.
Speaking of the Sharks, they lost on Tuesday 6-2 to Detroit.
Yeah.
Tyler Bertuzzi, 2-goal game up to 15 on the year. Dylan Larkin, his 16th.
Jeez.
Sin, your general thoughts on the game before I bring up 2 specific notes.
Number 1, Hurdle is gone. Number 2, that fucking sucks.
So what changed to make you go to just like, I'm feeling that he's done?
It's just been the overall vibe of the team, and then Hurdle says, this was embarrassing. I don't know if I think it was after that game, or maybe it was the game before. I don't know. It was after. I'm pretty sure it was that game. Because
that's a bad sign, though, right? Yes. The fact that it's like, okay, that says all you need to know, right? It's a bad sign that
there's been no negotiations either during season or even before the season, because usually the Sharks we get those extensions done before training camp. Carlson locked in before training camp. You look back on some of the other major deals; they were all locked in before training camp. Hurdle, the UFA, arguably one of the major faces of the Sharks now, and their last
for sure
major prospect guy. Yeah, he's saying that. It's just he's gone. It's gonna happen, and what the Sharks need to do is trade him. It's gonna get some backlash. People are gonna piss and moan, but there's always uninformed morons in every fan base, and those are gonna be ones who are pissing and moaning. The people who understand that he's probably not coming back. Why would he? Why would he sign long term here with this many question marks? It's not happening. And I'm just mentally preparing myself for fun must be always. Tomas Hertl, 4 goals between the legs, getting bitched out by Don Cherry's old ass. It just sucks. It sucks, and I love the guy to death. And I'm going to be probably an instant fan of whatever team he goes to because he's so ridiculously good and just a really good dude. And it sucks, but yeah, the Sharks. They're a bad team. They're pretenders at best. And, Hurdle's definitely gone.
In this game, the Sharks commentary apparently mentioned how the Red Wings had gone 100 games without a shorthanded goal. They then proceeded to immediately score 2 shorthanded goals within a minute.
Yeah. Hey, it's crazy. But you know what's crazy, dude? This was a 5-minute power play. I thought we were supposed to be guaranteed 4 goals. I thought that happens on every single 5-minute power play. The team who has that power play gets an automatic 3 or 4 goals, and we should change the rules or something to make it harder for that to happen. Anyway, I just had to throw that in there.
Vegas.
What's up, Vegas? What's up? Come at me. Follow me on Twitter, bitches.
Now, This game also had another moment of Wes Macaulay brilliance, announcing two people going to the box for fighting.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, gentlemen, on Wes Macaulay? Like, I like it on one hand, but I do agree with the takes of like, I don't know, man. If you find it like this, like gut busting, laugh worthy, okay,
No.
but
I mean, it's cute. Like, I'll say that it's cute. We need more personality in hockey. I don't think it should come from the refs, but Wes Macaulay's Wes Macaulay. He's gonna do his thing, whatever. But yeah, it does. He doesn't need to be a showstopper. And that's the only thing I worry about. But I'm not gonna make a bigger deal over it than it is. It's, in my opinion, just harmless fun, whatever.
the Colorado Avalanche beat the Chicago Blackhawks 4-3 in overtime on Tuesday. The rookie race that we've talked about, right? I mean, we pretty much already said through the opening month that it's Moritz Seider or Lucas Raymond. It's going to be a Red Wing. That said, Trevor Zegras has already, obviously thrown his name into the hat. Alex Newhook isn't too far off the pace of some of those other top players. He scored his 7th of the year for the Avs. There are rookie classes in the past where you look at it, it's like, oh, that guy won the rookie when this, and this guy were there. I'm not saying that whoever wins the Calder this year is going to be looked at negatively, but from the looks of it, we're going to look back at this draft class and just be like, my God, how did they whittle it down to just 3 people?
Right.
Again, in terms of scoring right now, Lucas Raymond, Trevor Zegras, Moritz Seider, even Tanner Jeannot in Nashville has 21 points in 35 games. Dawson Mercer, Lundell in Florida, Drysdale, Jonathan Dawn in San Jose, Seth Jarvis and Cole Sillinger. Like, this list of names is absurd. This is an incredible rookie class. And it really does make you wonder, if someone like Lucas Raymond or even Alex Nedeljkovic in goal for the Red Wings, if the Red Wings didn't have that triple threat, what exactly would the rookie race look like? But in terms of these points, it's still going to be Lucas Raymond, isn't it? Or does Trevor Zegras make it a race at this point? What do you guys think?
I think it'll be a race. I like to remind people that remember that Connor McDavid did not win the Calder. Generational talent, Connor McDavid did not win it. It was Artemi Panarin, and Panarin had a great season.
McDavid was injured, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was injured.
Yeah, he did miss time that year. Yeah,
but he did play, like, when he came back, like, he was still, like, dominant, even when he came back from injury, too. I think it's going to be really, really tight. I think there could be, like, a sleeper pick for sure. We still got another half of the season. So far, it's either going to be Seider, Raymond, or Zegras. Maybe someone else comes in, like Newhook. I don't know. Or Bunting, out of nowhere. Just goes on an absolute tear. Good old Michael Bunting.
I mean, he's 6th in scoring right now. Tied with Dawson Mercer in points, so there you go.
There you go.
For the Avs, too, in that game, Eric Johnson, who's still kicking around, 2-goal game, up to 5 on the year. Did you guys see the winning goal for Cale Makar? Basically, the idea is, for those who didn't see it, I will try to explain it. Look it up, though. This was a great goal. He goes around the back of the opposition's goal. He's along the half wall and does this quick 180-degree turn and cut. I think it was Kirby Doc that was next to him. Just completely froze him. Just froze him like the most vicious NBA crossovers. Drives to the net, buries it on the backhand. 14th of the year. Cale Makar is so gross, and it's one of those things where consistently you almost feel bad on a podcast for just banging on the same points over and over again. Cale Makar is sick, everybody.
He's the best offensive defenseman in the NHL.
He is the third. He's the third winger. He's the third winger on your play. Whatever. There's no words. Like, you say he's great one night, and then he comes out the next night and does something even better. It's like, why, how?
Honestly, yeah, he's had a couple of moments like that this season where I'm like, oh my God, and it's like he keeps surprising.
Yeah,
and how he's getting stuff done. In terms of point per game percentage as well, because obviously things have been messed up a little bit. But if you do look at defensemen in terms of point per game that have played at least 20 games this season. Cale Makar is number 1 at a 1.08 point per game. The only other players to have over a 1, they're both at 1.0, Victor Hedman and Adam Fox. And, like, Sin just mentioned the idea of Joe Thornton and, like, oh, man, how great it was. And I'll keep mentioning it. We get to watch, like, people our age, we got to watch Sidney Crosby and Ovechkin. We're getting to watch McDavid now. And I'm pretty sure that next crop is already here in terms of, like, the defensemen with Cale Makar and Adam Fox. Ridiculous. Go check out that goal if you haven't already. You won't regret it.
There's been like a whole new development. Sorry to cut you off again. There's been a whole new development of mobile skaters as of the past like few years. I remember I was skating with basically potential first round draft pick this year, Ty Nelson. I had to skate with him. I think it was a few years ago when he was still like playing in the Toronto Junior Canadiens AAA team over there, and the way he moved and the way he moves, you think these guys are forwards. You think they're just a winger or whatever and everything. But the way they're like conditioning themselves for skating and for hand movement and hand eye and all that, it's unreal. Because they have the aspects of like a traditional defenseman, but they have the ability to just openly just carry the puck up the ice. They have I'm not sure what to call it, the proper word to call it is, but they basically can control the pace of the game. And that's becoming what used to be a really, really rare occurrence in the NHL. Now it's becoming like standard, per se, for every team to have one guy who can just control the play, that you can have him on the power play and everything like that.
I think the term that you always hear is quarterback.
Yeah.
Like just a player's ability to, control the game, similar to obviously what the elite NFL quarterbacks can do. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Alex DeBrincat in that game, despite the loss, scored 2 goals. He's up to 20 on the year. Future captain of the Chicago Blackhawks, Alex DeBrincat. I will not let this go. I will not. He is the right guy for that locker room. He is an incredible talent on the ice. Alex frickin' DeBrincat. But you know who won't be the next captain of the Chicago Blackhawks? Alex frickin' Nylander. Because Alex Nylander was traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins in a deal that was 1-for-1 with Penguins forward Sam Lafferty.
Oof.
Yeah, so like...
This is a bad trade for Chicago.
It doesn't sound good, does it? Sam Lafferty. Who, you know, like, no disrespect to Sam Lafferty. He's been okay in his time at the NHL. He's just Guy. He is. He's Guy.
He's fourth liner guy, but not even depth kind of guy. Like he could, like his upside is fourth liner. So I don't understand this for Chicago at all. He's older than Nylander, less upside than Nylander. Why are you getting a fourth liner when you're probably not going to be sniffing the playoffs? I don't understand. I really don't understand this move for Chicago at all. And I think Pittsburgh can do the thing that they do and all right, besides with Galchenyuk, but no one can fix Galchenyuk.
Yeah.
Nylander, you put him around guys like Crosby, Malkin, now at this point, Rodriguez, Rust. He could probably find some... I can see him being like a 40-point guy.
This is
it's a terrible trade.
Former player... or a current player, but a former 8th overall pick.
Yep.
Back in 2016. Second 1-for-1 trade he was a part of, because obviously he was drafted by the Buffalo Sabres, and in July of 2019, he was traded 1-for-1 for Hawks defenseman Henry Jokiharju, who was also kind of just kicking around.
Yeah.
He was the 29th overall pick of the 2017 draft, 18 games played this season, 5 points for the Sabres. The Nylander thing's interesting, right? Like, we could obviously talk about who was selected after him, but 1920, he played 65 games with the Hawks, had 26 points. It's not ideal. It's not brutal. But that was it. Like, he spent all of this season with the Rockford Ice Hogs in the AHL, has 12 points in 23 games. I mean, I can understand cutting ties on someone who's going to be 24 years old in 2 months. But, like Sid mentioned, you're trading him for someone who is going to be turning 27 this March. 4 days after, actually. 4 days apart. Well, at least in terms of actual birthday. So, yeah, I don't know what Sam Lafferty will bring for the Hawks. I think he does kind of fit the theme of what they have going on with that team, in the sense of you look at some of their forwards, and it's Mike Hardman and Jujar Kara and Josiah Slavin and Curtis Gabriel now and grit, effort, grit.
Wait, who has Curtis Gabriel?
Yeah.
He's a Chicago Blackhawk.
What?
He got traded. Yeah, he got traded. We grabbed the 23-year-old defenseman from the
Chad
Blackhawks.
Chris.
Yeah.
Trade happened on December 9th.
How dare you?
Right?
Give him to that dumpster fire of an organization.
Hey, if there's anybody that can help them fix themselves, it's a saint like Curtis Gabriel.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think that may be the reason why they grabbed him is like, hey, he does a lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
Make our team look good.
Maybe if we surround ourselves by women and surround ourselves with other good people, it'll rub off on us.
Yeah. What is it? The Squidward meme. I have no talent. I have no talent. And if I surround myself with these people, their talent will rub off on me. And it's like an old like season 1 SpongeBob clip where like SpongeBob can't like do art, and Squidward's like, okay, I'll teach you how to do art. It's like bad. No one? Okay, sweet, thanks.
No, we're just going to let you go. Thanks. I agree with Sin. Nylander will be great for the Penguins. That's pretty much all you need to know. I do want to mention this, though, because we can't mention Montreal. I do believe we didn't see a single Habs game, unless I'm mistaken, but can kind of bring it up because of the Blackhawks. We talked about them hiring Brigitte Laquette as a scout. The Montreal Canadiens, over the past couple of days, they have hired Chantal Maccabi, I'm going to go with. It's probably not, because there's a thing over the E, and it's French, and I suck. But she has been hired as a vice president of communications for the Habs. I will say the same thing, essentially, that we said about the Blackhawks, and that I said on Twitter. You can rightfully question the motives of the organization that has recently done some very shady shit. But you can do so without downplaying the accomplishment of a more than qualified individual. Like, this is a woman that I think it mentioned that she has been with RDS as a reporter for like 3 decades or something like that. Like, in terms of a job with with a title of communications, like, there's no denying, like, yeah, that's somebody that you hire. Montreal, would they have hired her? We don't know. Like, bottom line is, like, let's be honest, you look at what the Habs have done with the whole Logan Mailloux thing, and yeah, you're going to question whether or not she actually would have been hired, even though she's deserving. Would she have been hired if they didn't get flack over Logan Mailloux? Chicago Blackhawks, Stan Bowman, after the Kyle Beach stuff breaks, Stan Bowman comes out on the stage surrounded by women. Yeah, we're such a great organization. Fucking like he's fucking Ric Flair in the club. Woo! Although I don't think you want to be compared to Ric Flair either, with some of the fucking stories that are out there. Jesus
Respect
Christ.
woman. Woo!
Oh my God. Just, again, 2 very deserving individuals that I'm happy to see get the spots that they have. But again, yeah, you're not wrong if you want to question the organization. That's all I wanted to mention about that. I don't know if you guys have anything to add.
Yeah. At least it's happening. And it needs to happen more.
That's fair.
There needs to be more women in positions of power like this. Because you know what? That kind of stuff wouldn't happen as much. The Kyle Beaches, the Logan Maillouxs, with those women in those kind of positions. Plain and simple. I'm not saying women are inherently better, but there's clearly an old boys club mentality. You need to start disrupting that. It needs to to clean house and sort of start slowly.
You say women aren't inherently better, but when's the last time at like a video game
Well, I meant
developer,
generally, like in a general sense. Like, I'm not saying
I know what you meant.
Yeah, all right, but continue.
But like, think about it though, like in the workplace, how often is it this leadership of women and it's an overly toxic environment compared directly to like, here's a leadership of men, and it often ends up being incredibly toxic.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Activision with Bobby Kotick and Riot Games, and like, you hear stories every day.
Yeah, no. In women in positions of power, I definitely will say, in a lot of cases, are inherently better because again, for the exact reason that you mentioned. It's just that they're not going to let that sort of toxic shit fester, especially when it comes to can't think of the right word for it, but like I'll just compare it to comedy. Like if you do comedy, you punch up, never down. And when it comes to those toxic work environments, the Activision Blizzard stuff like that, when it was just clearly sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, everything, just completely gross stuff happening, and it continues to fester and it becomes part of that culture, that shit would be stamped out by a woman, or at least attempted to, because they've gone through that shit. They're going to say, no, this is wrong for that. And yeah, so whatever it takes to get women into those sort of positions will be better. At the very least, it offers that counterpoint and kind of the just that to someone to kind of step in and just try to put a stop to that, or at least raise the question that it's wrong, or raise the flags that yes, this is wrong to say. And it's kind of pathetic that we need that, but clearly we do.
There's no great way to obviously take a hard right out of that in talking about hockey, but we'll do our best. On Wednesday, the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Edmonton Oilers 4-2. John Tavares scored his 14th of the year, and Ilya Mikheyev continues this unbelievable hype train as he scored his 3rd of the year. Endo, any particular thoughts about that Leafs game? Obviously, we'll talk a bit about the Oilers in a second, but again, I just imagine you're feeling pretty good and waiting for the playoffs.
Yeah, we're doing good. Getting pucks in deep, we're doing really well. This is the Oilers game. Okay, Ilya Mikheyev is a fucking legend. I had to make sure this was the game we were talking about. Ilya Mikheyev is a god. The Cobra, the Viper. Mike Smith needs to check his glove hand. But boy, give me some Ilya. Okay, that's it. That's it. I'm just gonna fangirl over Ilya Mikheyev even more.
Are you gonna fangirl over Nick Ritchie, who cleared waivers?
I think it's unfortunate that the Ritchie project didn't work out the way it could have.
Wait, what's that? Is that Endo Mills speaking, or is that me just a few months ago?
Yeah, it's a project. I don't know why people thought he was gonna be great. He had one good season, but he was around a different dynamic of a team. To me, I feel like it could have either paid out in spades or would have been a disaster. And us losing Nick Ritchie doesn't really do anything bad to us because we have so many depth players that aren't really playing. So it's good to have his contract off the books, and maybe he does better in the Marlies.
Is it though?
And
wasn't he signed for like $2 million?
Yeah, he signed for 2.5 for this year and next. So technically, you're not going to be fully off the hook for that.
Well, he's in the minors, doesn't count towards our cap hit though.
Yes, it does.
What's the amount
portion of it does
to be buried? That's the big question in terms of what would technically be buried and what wouldn't. On cap friendly, they do still have him listed on the main roster, so I'd imagine they're still going to have to pay a decent amount of that.
Yeah, but at least they have some of it off. Hey, listen, something's better than having it still all on there.
They wanted him to come in and be another Zach Hyman, and that's just simply not going to happen. And I saw Leafs fans all the time really just underselling what Hyman brought to the table and thinking, and all right, well, here's the max level of delusion about that. You think Nick Ritchie can come in and do what Zach Hyman was doing? I don't understand the mentality. That's insane, like literal insanity. Like talk about the disrespecting a player like Zach Hyman. Holy shit.
Well, in terms of insanity, let's look at the other side of the ice with the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh, man.
Highlighted by Ryan McLeod not shooting at a wide open net, despite Sportsnet trying to claim it as an amazing save by Jack Campbell. That's Endo facepalms.
I ratioed the fuck.
That was actually
really
impressive.
did.
You ratioed Sportsnet.
Oh, I think it's really funny because of my previous experience at the other sports media giant.
Bell?
Oh, man. Yeah, because of Bell and TSN and all that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to say Bell. I meant to say it like a small... The Score.
The Score? Man.
This big media giant, The Score. That's
Score.
who Endo worked with.
Oh, man. No, but for people who don't know what the meme was, It was the Sailor Moon Tuxedo Mask, like, my job here is done, but you didn't do anything kind of gift, and Tuxedo Mask just kind of like runs away. But it was like, nice save, and it was like, but he didn't save anything. Just
Walks away. Yeah. You actually ended up with more likes on your tweet than Sportsnet did on theirs. So yeah, it's a successful ratio.
Yeah.
Well done.
That's on my bucket
Well done,
list.
Endo.
Thank you.
Just brutal from Ryan McLeod to not shoot that puck. And then we didn't talk about this in the last episode because we've talked about the Oilers a lot and how they're a dumpster fire right now by the standard of where they should be. Coach Dave Tippett basically threw Mikko Koskinen under the bus.
I didn't bring that up last week. I thought I brought that up briefly last.
Maybe we did in passing, but we didn't really get into it.
Okay.
Koskinen responded.
Oh yeah, this was a good response.
Oh yeah.
Quote, "It's not nice being thrown under the bus. I have to be better, but at the same time, we've scored 7 goals in my last 6 losses. I can't score goals."
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Like I said at the top of the show, your team has 111 goals against, like, for the season so far, and you you're on the cusp of being a wild card slot with your roster and your lineup. And
They are currently in the second wild card spot in the West. Yeah.
You are. I don't have any words for how disgusting. Yeah, in the Pacific, and I'm baffled. Like, goalies, as a goalie myself, hearing like there's like, oh yeah, he's got to play better. It's like, yeah, sure, I have to play good, but you also need to give me the support so that way I don't have to bust my ass every day on a game. Make my job easy so I can make your job easier. Because the amount of goals that you guys get past me, you guys have to make up for in the end of the day. It's a two-way street. And I feel like goalies get a lot more pressure than I think they deserve.
Start of the year. If I told you guys January 7th, 2022, the Pacific standings on points percentage would be this. Vegas? Okay, I can see Vegas ahead of Edmonton. Calgary? Anaheim. And they are barely above Los Angeles. They are barely above San Jose. They are barely above Vancouver. The only team that's not close is Seattle, who are just outright in the basement of that division. This is a complete and utter failure, as we have talked about numerous times. This is a failure of the coaching staff, which appears to have lost the room, and I cannot imagine that Dave Tippett makes it to February as head coach of this team. They are going to have to push the panic button here very, very soon, and he's the one to get the boot. Ken Holland being hired as GM of this team. Has he made some good moves? Yes. Bringing in Zach Hyman, good move. And that's where the list stops.
I was just going to say, that's the only good move I can think of.
What other good move is there that Ken Holland has made,
The
Oilers fans?
horrible. They're horrible.
Inform me. Let me know. Because at the end of the day, you look at this team, Warren Fogle for Ethan Bear. Hasn't exactly panned out so far. Giving Kyle Turris a chance for $1.65 million. That has not worked. And then again, I don't mind guys like Devin Shore, Brendan Perlini, Colton Sevier, but it's not working for the guys you've brought in for the bottom 6. And then you get to the massive issues. Duncan fucking Keith. When everybody on God's green earth knew it was a mistake to get him, you gave up assets to get him at $5.5 million when the fucker cannot turn. He gets pyloned every other day. That's the only highlights I've seen from Duncan Keith this year, him getting pyloned. They signed Cody Ceci for $3.25. He was good in Pittsburgh. Still $3.25 for 4 years for Cody Ceci? Like, he commanded that much, did he? And then obviously, the goaltending has stayed the same. Oh, well, Peter Chiarelli's the one that signed Mikko Koskinen.
You kept
him. Find a way.
You kept Mikko Koskinen. And now you're doing...
You kept Mike Smith.
Even worse. And you signed him for 2 years.
He's not bad when he plays. He's 39 and can't stay healthy? What? I'm shocked. Like, Tyson Barrie, 4.5 for 3 years. Like, look, the guy puts up a lot of points. We know he's a tire fire defensively. Everybody.
These are just
all season long. has pointed out the issues with this team. Surprise, surprise, here we are.
Yeah, they're unforced errors, in my opinion. The Duncan Keith, all the things that you mentioned, the moves made by Tippett are just plain and simply unforced errors. And that's not what you want to see at the beginning of a tenure. Because again, as we saw with Chiarelli, moves like that can screw a franchise over for a long time to come. And it's pretty nuts to see some fans, but mostly the media, just going after excuse after excuse after. So, like, what is it with Canada? Are they afraid they're going to lose access? Is Canada are teams that brutal to reporters in Canada, where they were like, if you question like the coaches or the GMs, like you will get denied access? Because in Edmonton, they go for everyone. They've even questioned fans' loyalty. Said you need to be, more loyal, and you need to take it more easy on this team, and maybe they'll play better. Like what? Come on, man. Like I get it to a point. Like you don't want to put too much pressure on the players, but in my opinion, it ain't the players. This team is built poorly. This team is coached poorly. You have McDavid and Draisaitl carrying the team on their back, and Tougie, you brought up the main point that I was going to bring up. Tippett's lost the room 100%. Yeah. There's no way he hasn't after doing that. I don't care how bad your goalie's doing. You don't necessarily throw him under the bus like that when your team's not scoring in front of him.
Yeah, that's basically it. Another thing, that's the reason why we talk about the media stuff. That's the reason why when everyone gets mad that like Toronto and like Montreal, like the sports hubs of media in Canada, is because they're not afraid to ask the hard hitting questions. It's more like the guys over there, like Alberta, those teams over there, Vancouver. It just seems like everyone complains that, oh, they don't ask hard hitting questions or anything like that. But then when you get your chance to ask questions and critique people, it's like, oh, don't critique the people actually doing the job. Critique the fans, the ones that are paying the money. Like, no, if you're gonna do one, do all.
It's just still waiting for something to happen with Edmonton, aside from finger pointing and nothing getting done. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
The Winnipeg Jets beat the Arizona Coyotes 3-1, I do believe, on Tuesday. Pierre-Luc Dubois is 15th of the year. He's been great for them for the most part. Nick Eller's 13th. The main talking point for the Jets, though, was that I guess ownership kind of put feelers out there about, well, what if we go play home games in Saskatoon? And apparently they backed out of the idea after fan feedback came back negative. Surprise, surprise. Endo, do you know a lot about this? Because I'm sure it's been covered more in the media there, but I was just totally caught off guard by all of a sudden. It's like, oh yeah, hey, they almost played games in Saskatoon, which has long been a rumored place, even though it's a smaller market. But Winnipeg can work, so why can't Saskatoon? But
you'd have people driving to Saskatoon anyway. So like, what's the point? You'd have people from Winnipeg driving over, and the reason why they can't do is over there because of the restrictions. So you have people going over there anyway. I think they figured that they're just gonna go because it's open here. I think they kind of stopped that for that reason. I'm not sure what the whole reason is. There was barely any coverage of that at all. That was really weird. Like, I saw a tweet, and that's it. Just a tweet saying, oh, we might do this, we might do it. And then just today, it's like, yeah, we're not going to do that. I mean, like, you could have fooled me.
Just weird stuff.
Canada's weird. Don't come here.
The Nashville Predators beat the Vegas Golden Knights 3-2. Philip Forsberg with 2 goals. He's up to 17 on the year. And honestly, I feel like Nashville, despite being in the spot they're in, right, like, number one, like, we haven't talked about that enough. Like, we've mentioned Nashville, but like I said, I just mentioned the standings. The Nashville Predators right now are on top of the Central Division. Granted, if we go off of point percentage instead for that particular division, they're second, only behind Colorado. Positive goal differential, Nashville really hasn't been that bad, but I feel like you're still kind of waiting to see, much like Sharks fans are with Hurdle, what are they going to do with Philip Forsberg? Because he is having a great season. But do you believe your hype and try to keep him? Or do you move on from him and really hurt your playoff chances? Philip Forsberg has 29 points in 26 games this year. And last year, he had 32 and 39. Like, this is a guy constantly, or at least pretty consistently, hovering around, maybe not quite over a point per game, but he is a very, very good player. So I'm intrigued to see what Nashville does, and I think they could be one of those surprising teams, but it almost feels weird to hear the idea of Nashville buying at this stage, but they could. So I don't know. I'm also intrigued, too. I'll throw this out there for Sin. Like, the idea of, granted, different players, but the idea of like, big trade pieces at the trade deadline. Tomas Hertl, Philip Forsberg. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, that's good news if Philip Forsberg is still, or actually, it might actually be bad news if Philip Forsberg's still available. Granted, again, winger compared to center, but if Tomas Hertl's like the lone big fish out there and the Sharks sell, they're going to get a lot more for him.
I hope
unless the team can be like, well, let's go talk to Nashville.
Yeah, no, that's why I want Nashville to keep doing good, so they hold on to Forsberg. And yeah, but it's Sharks need to get an arm and a leg for Hertl because they have to, because there's going to be fan backlash anyway, no matter what. So just make sure the return is kick ass, because if you somehow bungle the return on Hertl, yeah, bye. That's a move that could actually get Doug Wilson fired, which I hope doesn't happen, much to the chagrin of some Sharks fans out there. But
I mean, I was heavily entrenched in the idea of how the hell has he not been fired yet? Just to finally have changed. But in talking to you and talking to a friend of the show in No Sleeves, like the idea of why he is still there and how Sharks fans feel about him, I understand it a little bit more. I'd be surprised if he got let go at this stage.
Like I said, if he somehow bungles the Hertl situation, that's the only way I would even step forward and say, no, you have to go. I don't care. Make sure your son stays as head of scouting, hopefully, and you can get the fuck out. Because those are bad moves. You do not want what happened to Tavares happen to Hertl, like at all. I don't care if he says don't trade me. Trade his ass.
The final game on Tuesday. Trade his ass.
Send them.
Oh God! The final game on Tuesday.
Okay, we're jumping around. Okay, because we did Wednesday.
Yeah, I think I accidentally jumped to Wednesday and then jumped back to Tuesday. I missed something
because we did the Costco thing.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, so I totally missed something because I tried to split something up. Also on Tuesday, the Ducks beat the Flyers 4-1. Troy Terry had a hat trick, up to 21 goals. He's unbelievable. The Ducks are great. The Flyers suck. Cam Atkinson scored his third. Now we're back on the Wednesday. I had missed that one. I didn't want Ducks fans to yell at me. I reserve their yelling for Sin.
Don't worry. There's literally two of them.
Fair enough. The final thing to talk about on Wednesday, because there were only two games. The Penguins beat the Blues 5-3. We'll talk about the Penguins a little bit more when we get into Thursday's games. But Brian Rust, 2 goals up to 7. Crosby scored his 5th, and Evan Rodriguez scored his 14th. Talk more about them in a minute. But also, a note for the Blues. I didn't know where else to put this. The Winter Classic tied for the most watched NHL regular season game on cable all time, with 1.4 million viewers, according to Michael Russo. So, a healthy Winter Classic on a brand new network. That is lovely to see, especially when you talk about the idea of taking it off of NBC and putting it onto TNT. That's huge to still get a really good number like that. So, I'm obviously happy to see that. Yeah, good for the good just for the sake of the league and in general.
Good new TV deal. That's a good sign. We want hockey to grow. That's a good fucking sign.
Exactly. Well, we will move over to Thursday, and okay, here we go. Let's talk about this game as the Minnesota Wild beat the Boston Bruins 3-2. Kirill Kaprizov scored his 14th of the year.
Yay.
Matt Boldy scored his first NHL goal. Matt Boldy, I discovered some, discovered some interesting things. Now, number one, I mean, the guy is, 20 years old?
Yep.
I think he's 20?
Yep.
It's ridiculous. Played his college hockey at, a certain place just down the street within Boston.
Yeah, he's about to be 21. Never mind. I mathed wrong.
Yeah. Discovered on Wikipedia that his dad played football for the University of Maine, college close to me, girlfriend's alma mater. Also discovered he was born in what was described on Wikipedia as a small town in Massachusetts before his parents moved in the 4th grade. That small town is a lovely place called Milford, Massachusetts, which is where I was born.
Wow.
Population of 30,000 people. I just laughed to see small town.
Yeah, that was my hometown, 30K.
Motherfuckers, small town, my ass. Have you seen some of the places in New England? Small town at 30K. Fuck off. It was awesome, though, to see Matt Boldy get his first goal. Marco Rossi also played his first NHL game in that one, too. So very happy for Marco Rossi in terms of how he's battled back.
Other than that, nothing happened, right? On to the next game.
Yeah, nothing happened. Matt Boldy scored. It was awesome. His parents and family were up in the stands, and they were all celebrating. It was cool. For the Bruins, Taylor Hall scored. Marchand got his 12th. And that's it. Let's move on. Other things for the Bruins. Willie O'Ree's jersey is finally going to be retired a year late. It'll be on January 18th, and he won't be there. He will be attending the ceremony virtually because of everything going on. Fuck.
Right?
Just damn it. This is why you should have done this a fucking decade ago, minimum, if not 20 years ago. He was the first black player. It's 2022, he's like 86. What are you fucking waiting for? And now you're raising the banner, and he's not even gonna fucking be there in person? Fuck.
Thank you, my white knight Tougie. Thank you so much. I had to. No, but I completely agree. This is a long time coming. And I hate that they waited a year so you could have him there. Now he can't even be there. Personally, if I were the Bruins, I would say no. We're doing this right. We need him to be there for this.
Well,
and I would
you're
support
risking.
There are obviously reasons why you can't do it. Probably stuff internally, but if I could, I would have this done fucking years ago. If I could, but I would really like him to be there. It's unfortunate he can't be there. I guess virtually is what they have to do, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right.
So do we name?
Yeah.
Do we name this episode Sir Tougahad or Sir Galatug? If I'm gonna be your
Sir Toug of Gee.
Okay, we've killed this joke.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Kirill Kaprizov.
No, just go simple with it.
There you go. We'll think of it.
Okay.
Kirill Kaprizov got hurt on a hip from Trent Frederick. Your thoughts, gentlemen?
Pretty. I mean, it's dirty. It's hard to say if it was intent to injure, but it was intent to try to intimidate him all night. So that's going to give a lot of people the impression that it's intent to injury. It's hard to step into his head, but it's a bad play. It's a really bad play. He makes no effort to play the puck, which I think bounced through his feet, if I'm remembering correctly. I think he could have just taken it off of Kaprizov's sticks and skated the other way, because Kaprizov went off balance, was really struggling to get a handle on the puck. He could have created a break the other way. What he opted to do was play the body with a player in a vulnerable position, and that's dirty. That's the definition of a dirty hit, or a bad hit. I'll say whatever. So Bruins fans don't come after me, but I don't care.
I mean, they will, because I had Bruins fans coming after me.
They came after you, so yeah, it's.
So you're fucked.
Whatever. I'm over here on the West Coast, dude. They can't even fucking spell where I live. There you go, dumbass Selfies. What are you gonna do?
I don't know, something Spanish in California. Fucking
Seriously. I'd be lace curtain to you guys over there. Get out of here.
I got me more than it should have. I just looked at the hit. That's gross. I think the worst part about it too is Kaprizov gets up and he sees everybody's got a guy, and he's like, "Oh, who do I get? No, fuck, I'm too hurt." Shit. Oh man, I hope he's okay. Yeah.
So,
oh man,
my only issue with Wild fans, they were rightfully outraged about this. I don't blame them for that. I will say the shit talking to be like, "Oh, the Bruins couldn't even beat an injured Wild team." Charlie McAvoy didn't play last night. Let's not pretend that both teams are at full strength. It's my only point there. In terms of the hit, Sin mentioned the idea of targeting. Look, it's nothing new. Bottom 6 players take the body and play very physical against the other team's star players. That's literally primarily what they are there to do. For Trent Frederick, it was no different.
That's why matchups are so big. Put your grinders out against the top line. Try to fucking shut them down. It's not... I don't know why that's weird
basic
concept to people.
Right. But in terms of the hit, and apparently Kaprizov might miss at least one game due to this injury, whatever it may be, I completely agree with Sin, and I think you nailed it. And I've said as much on Twitter. Like, number one, it's an unnecessary hit. A more experienced player, a better player, dare I say, would have played the puck there and not the body. If you're looking at some of your top defensive... You don't even have to be a Patrice Bergeron, a Pavel Datsyuk type to just be like, oh yeah, playing the puck there's the right move and go down the other way.
Kevin LeBanc would know to take the puck right there.
Jake trimmed for Jake DeBrusk. It's just, it's a bad hit. And I said as much on Twitter, and I stand by this, and I've said this all season long with every play that's happened, including the likes of the Jacob Trouba hits. You are responsible for the outcome of the play. I do not care, and nor should this be the rule, that, oh, well, it wasn't malicious. He didn't intend to injure him, so it's not a dirty hit. It ended up being a dirty hit, is the best way to sum it up. It might not have been what he intended for. He intended to hit him, and he made sure that he hit him when he probably shouldn't have. And at the end of the day, if the end of results is a bad hit that results in an injury, it is a bad hit. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. Trent Frederick is at fault. If Trent Frederick gets suspended, I'm okay with that. I don't think he will because we haven't heard anything. And we've already heard the likes of, I think it was Brad Richardson for hitting Matthew Joseph. He's not going to be suspended. So, I mean, the DOPS continues to drop the ball. It was just a bad play. It was a bad play. You could say, oh, well, it was just more circumstantial. What was the outcome? It was Trent Frederick hitting a guy in the numbers who was already down on a knee, putting him face first into the boards. That is a dirty hit. End of. And we could get into talking about... And we have. I mean, I literally, again, that solo episode I put out talking about Trent Frederick and how that's, was that the right guy to take at the time? I don't think Trent Frederick's a bad guy. It's not his fault for being selected where he was selected. But you're also looking at a former first-round pick who's stuck in the bottom six and is being told to play physical, and he stepped over the line. That's all I got for that. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add, but it's a bad hit.
No, it's spot on.
Last talking point for the Bruins. Tuukka Rask officially signed his PTO, of course, with the Providence Bruins. Unfortunately, the games he was supposed to play in this weekend have been postponed. So, no real idea of what they're going to do with Tuukka in terms of getting him that game time, but we are one step closer to likely officially seeing...
Sorry.
Everything you say to me. We are...
I don't know where that came from. Sorry.
God.
Out of nowhere. Love it.
It was a compulsion, and I had to act on it.
Oh, man. But what's
So we found an episode title. Spontaneous Chester. Oh, God. With the Bruins... We don't know what the hell they're going to do. They signed Tuukka Rask. Okay, what's it going to be? Well, Swayman has a 918. Allmark has a 917. Somebody's the odd man out. Do you send Swayman down? I don't know if you want to do that.
Taxi squad?
Do you look to... I mean, the taxi squad would make sense to carry 3 goalies if you want.
Yeah.
The question has essentially become... there's a no movement clause for 2 years for Linus Allmark. Can you get him to waive it? Has been a lot of the conversation amongst Bruins fans. I don't know.
Do you want him to?
Allmark signed a 4-year deal. It's a $5 million per cap hit. No movement clause for this year and next, and then it moves into 2 different versions of a no-trade clause, or a modified no-trade clause in the last 2 years of the deal. There are some teams that could certainly use a Linus Allmark. Edmonton, for one.
Edmonton.
I mean, granted... You'd have to work out. I mean, I don't know what the hell you do carrying Smith, Koskinen, and Linus Allmark.
Get rid of Koskinen because he called
the Bruins
out the
wouldn't want Koskinen back. There'd be a lot of moving pieces. It would almost be a video game trade. I don't know if Allmark's going to waive that no movement clause. Like you sign a deal with a 2-year no movement clause to say I'm not going anywhere. But on the flip side, it's as a safety net in case Jeremy Swayman's not ready. Jeremy Swayman at this point has 26 career starts, 945 in 10 games last year, and 918 in 16 games this year. So Tuukka being in there makes sense, but what's Tuukka going to have coming off of a pretty major injury? Like, there's just still so much uncertainty. And it's a shame that we're not going to be able to see Rask. I mean, again, for all we know, the games could have gone as poorly as they did for Ben Bishop. I don't think he would have outright retired.
Yeah.
But then again, bad games in the AHL don't mean that you're going to suck. We saw Carey Price spend some time with Laval. He got shelled, and then next thing you know, they're in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah. So I think the funny thing about that, too, is it's a big shift for goalies to play one level and to drop down to another. Like, you've seen every goalie so far that's had a PTO. Like, so that's Price. That's not like PTO, but like conditioning stint in the AHL has been
Bishop.
Absolutely just it doesn't work.
I don't think Hill even played a game in the Barracuda because he had a conditioning assignment to Barracuda. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't even. Anyway,
I don't
continue.
even know. But I think oh my god, I feel bad because Lee Valley dodged the fucking bullet for not having to go up against Tuukka Rask. Because it's Tuukka Rask. Like, imagine going up that one night, you find out, like, in the morning, hey, we're going up against Stanley Cup champion, starting goaltender for the Boston Bruins.
Bez in the winner.
Tuukka Rask. Yeah. I would throw everything. I'd be pissed. I mean, it'd be awesome.
Pull a Tuukka Rask and throw that fucking milk crate back.
Oh, yeah. Throw the milk crate, throw all the sticks on the ice. Do all
If
that.
anyone's never seen the clip of Tuukka Rask when he was actually with Providence, getting mad and throwing a milk crate onto the ice.
And all the sticks.
The best. Oh, it's the best. Oh, the great Finnish temper.
And then he did it in Boston as well. When he was with the Bruins, I think once. He was mad.
Oh, he's broken sticks over posts.
And then he's picked up the blade and put it right at the ref. Be like, this is you.
Okay, I still hate that moment. Again, I will die on that hill that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. That if a goalie loses a skate blade, play doesn't fucking stop.
That's terrible. That's a stupid thing.
That's happened.
Like, literally, it cost the Bruins a game against the Lightning in a series they would have lost anyway, by the way. The Lightning have owned the Bruins for the past couple of years. But the idea that goalie skates, the blades are a little bit more quick release like everyone else's skates, and you lose a skate blade, and you're just like, it's fine that there's a fucking knife on the ice. What? Let alone the fact that it's fucking dangerous for a goalie who's trying to balance on a skate holder or has to stay butterfly. Like, it's the fucking dumbest. Like, unless you think people are going to go full David Leggio and just be like, fuck it, tip the net over. Someone's on a breakaway. I'll take a penalty shot instead or some shit.
Or flick the helmet off. That's my favorite, when goalies flick the helmet off. And then, like, when their strap breaks. I've done that a few times. I had, I think before everything...
scumbag.
Yeah, before everything shut down, I took a puck to the helmet, and usually you're supposed to, like, if it's, like, extensive, you stop play, or if my helmet's, like, whatever. But this was during, like, a semi-pro, like, bunch of pro guys who play in, like, the show were playing, humble brag, and I took a puck to the helmet, strap broke completely, play kept going, I'm like, my helmet. It's like, well, they still have the puck, you need to touch the puck, like, possession. So I flipped my fucking helmet off, and then the ref looks at me because he knows me. He's like, I know, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, now you gotta stop the play, don't you? It worked.
Cheating. Just cheating. Also, on Thursday, the San Jose Sharks beat the Buffalo Sabres 3-2. Myers 14th, and what could be Tomas Hertl's final goal as a Shark, his 17th of the season.
Wait, no.
I want to see if...
When's the trade deadline coming, motherfucker? It's usually
Every game is the last game.
Get out of here.
For the Sabres, Jeff Skinner scored his 11th. Again, not bad, just not quite the 40-goal scorer he was when they gave him the contract. And I want your thoughts on this as well. Because, I don't know, it's always weird, right? Like, PJ Stock got in a little bit of trouble on Twitter today for calling out, like, players coming back and getting a tribute when they weren't really with the team for all that long. I'm not sure who sparked that. Personally, that doesn't bother me. Oh, this guy was only here for 2 years. Still, former player, hey, thanks for your time here. Who gives a shit? And then another thing people always seem to complain about are banners. Now, unless you're losers like the Indianapolis Colts and the Nashville Predators and you're raising banners for no reason, then yeah, I agree. Like those people deserve to be laughed at. But the Sabres announced that on April 1st, it's not an April Fool's joke, longtime commentator Rick Janneret will have a banner raised to the rafters. And I've seen people have an issue with it, and I say, why? Like, Rick Janneret is as notable.
He's iconic. I know his voice, and
he's the voice of the Buffalo Sabres.
He has been with the Sabres, if I am not mistaken, since 71-72.
Insane.
Which was their second season.
50 years, man.
How anybody could have an issue with this, I have no idea. Well, he's not a player. Who gives a shit? Like, again, like I don't even have a problem with Minnesota raising the number 1 to the rafters for the fans. I get people hate that. I can understand the hate for it, I get.
I thought
but
it was Seattle. Who?
Oh, no, Seattle did it too, I think,
Yeah,
for the amount of ticket holders. Something like that. Like, I understand people having an issue with that, even though I don't, because who gives a shit? It's a number at that point. But, yeah, how anybody could have an issue with this? Like, the man's going to turn 80 years old this year. He's been doing the commentary work for the Sabres for 22 years longer than I've been alive. Like, there are people listening to this show that are not even 22 years old. It's ridiculous. I don't understand how anyone can have a problem with this. This is awesome and a great way to wrap up his time with the Sabres in his final season. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
The New Jersey Devils, who we talked about in the last show with their horrible injury luck. Dougie Hamilton out with a broken jaw. Jonathan Bernier hurt. They did beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 3-1. Jackets falling to 15, 16, and 1.
There's a whole lot of teams
chances.
around 500 right now. There's a whole mess of them.
Jack Hughes scored his 9th of the year. We talked about him in the last show. He now has 12 points in his last 5 games. 4 goals, 8 assists after coming back from injury.
Worth the contract.
Kid's unreal.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually going to be a steal of a contract. I know a lot of people were worried about it. No, it's going to be a steal of a contract.
And for the Blue Jackets, shout out to notable not Seattle Kraken forward Max Domi, who scored his 8th of the year. Fucking idiots.
He's not, it's not an analytical darling, clearly.
It was the wrong call.
What the hell?
The absolute wrong call.
My apologies. My computer just blue screened.
Oh, that's
Nice.
okay. We can still hear you.
Yeah, no, we're good. We'll see how long Endo stays. I'm not going to edit out any of this. Endo's still here. And if he's not, well, then shit. Hey, there we go.
There you
know
go.
the best part of that is on the YouTube side of things, I think that might move my webcam up to your spot and yours to mine for like a minute.
It's okay.
That'll be cool.
No one will notice anywhere. We're the same person.
Pretty close, at least.
Very close.
The Penguins beat the Flyers 6-2 on Thursday. 2 more goals for Brian Rust. He's up to 9. Jake Gensel scored his 17th and 18th because he is maybe the most underrated player in the NHL. Like, Jake Gensel is an elite player. I said it. And doesn't get the respect he deserves. And Evan Rodriguez scored his 15th. Boys, he is on, I believe, a 70-point pace. Is Evan Rodriguez.
4th line center, Evan Rodriguez, you mean?
There you go.
Dude, it's absolutely insane. Just, of course.
This is why
Of course.
Nylander is going to kick ass in Pittsburgh. Like, I know, all right, Rodriguez is a much better player than he was, being played in other places, Buffalo. But also, he's slightly a product of his environment at the same time. But he's also, this is the reason. Gensel, Rodriguez, these are the reasons that Alex Nylander is probably going to find some sort of success in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, he has a career high of 29 points in a 74-game season back in 18-19. Was previously close to about a 40 to 50-point pace, actually, the year before that. Last year was his first, I want to say, full year in Pittsburgh. He played 35 games with 14 points. So, again, about a 30-point pace. And, yeah, now has 30 points in 33 games with 15 goals. Ridiculous.
Yo, they let
Absolutely
him go.
ridiculous.
Or they traded him and they just got him back for nothing, didn't they?
I believe
how'd that
so.
even-
I can get clarification on that actually really quickly, but
I don't get it.
yeah, it's so Evan Rodriguez, signed by the Buffalo Sabres in April of 2015, traded from Buffalo.
Toronto, I think.
Oh my
right?
God! Traded from Buffalo with Connor Sherry to Pittsburgh for Dominic Cahoon in February of 2020.
Right. Yeah.
August of 2020, traded from Pittsburgh alongside David Warsofsky, Philip Hollander, and a first-round pick to the Toronto Maple Leafs for Pontus Aberg, Kasperi Kapanen, and Jesper Lindgren, and then he signed with the Pittsburgh again this October. With the Penguins.
And like,
ridiculous.
They didn't want to. He didn't
28.
want to sign in Toronto or something like that. Like it was something. It was like we got his rights, and he wouldn't
Don't blame
sign.
You knew he wasn't going to get.
Would have been a better investment than Nick Ritchie, as it turns out. But
Okay,
hey.
we get it. Yeah.
10 straight wins for the Penguins. Now at 28-5. They have been without Evgeny Malkin. Like, Tampa doing what they do without Kucherov isn't surprising. Somehow the Penguins just not dying and not going away, though. I mean, granted, they're in a wild card spot right now. It is very close, though. It's crazy. It's just what words can you possibly have for it?
Yeah.
It's been the meme for years and years and years, and Evan Rodriguez is the new Mark Donk and just magically a part of this team and good. It's what it is. It's insane. I don't know. Like, it's ridiculous. Is ridiculous the best word for it? I think it is. But it's along the lines of, and I'm trying to find this too as I type this out, but you know the meme list that was going around? Hopefully you guys saw it, but there was a meme list going around of just like the joke names of like, oh, who's going to be on the U.S. Olympic team now that the NHL is not going? Evan Rodriguez. Like, you can imagine Evan Rodriguez going, but instead, he's on the Penguins and he's crushing it.
Right.
We'll leave it at that. The Dallas Stars, who just got a lot more interesting to talk about throughout the course of this show. They beat the Florida Panthers 6-5 in overtime. Jason Robertson's 11th of the year. He's still sick. Sagan and Ben, they're 9th of the year. Still not bad. For the Panthers in the loss, 2 goals for Barkov. He's up to 14 on the year. Dallas, though, just had a nice little interesting development. Their record is 16-12-2, and apparently a defenseman, John Klingberg, has requested a trade. Does not mean that they will adhere to it, of course, as we have learned with the likes of Jake DeBrusk. But yeah, no, John Klingberg has requested a trade.
What?
Yeah.
And, I mean, you're looking at a guy who has 16 points in 25 games this year. He, dare I say, is kind of, as I just managed to drop my phone, that's great. He is almost like Tyson Barrie-esque in that, you know, you're not going to get great defense, but as, you know, a solid offensive defenseman, yeah.
And maybe the Sharks will pick him
he
up.
is maybe, right? 1 for 1 for Vlasic. Who says no?
Oh God, yes, please. I would love it. Fuck it, get a new coach in there who'll just let us fly, and we'll win every game 8-7. Who cares?
Klingberg is 29 years old. He is on an expiring contract, making just $4.3 million this season. I mean, you want to talk about the top defensive trade target right now that we know of? Here you go. I mean, like I said, he might not quite be what he used to be, but he's still a really good offensive defenseman, even though the defense is going to suck. Like, if you need that power play quarterback, you might be good to go. And honestly, the way some of the metrics look, you could argue it was directly tied into the change in coaching style when Rick Bowness took over for the Stars and implemented a more, defensive system that he doesn't quite fit. So that's huge.
Yeah.
That's absolutely huge news, especially, too, if the Stars were to adhere to his request. I mean, he had a career-high 67 points as a defenseman in the 2017-18 season. It's a sick player. So, all the talk, Sid, of like, oh, what's going to happen with Hurdle? What's going to happen with DeBrusk? What's going to happen with this guy? We get to add John Klingberg to that list, and we're still, 2 months away from the trade deadline? It's going to be the majority of our show.
Yeah.
It's talking about, oh, where's this guy going to get traded? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I mean, to me it makes sense. On the expiring deal, Dallas. There you go. Definitely, pretty bubble team. Yeah, they're still with the positive record and whatnot, but just a very bubble team in my opinion. But yeah, losing Klingberg would suck. But also, you mentioned that the expiring deal, if he doesn't want to stay there, they could get a hefty something back. And honestly, Heiskanen is the number one. Heiskanen is the future of that defensive core. He is probably the most underrated defenseman in the NHL, in my opinion. He brings so much to the table. He's good offensively, but he's really solid defensively. He's a great two-way defenseman, and his mentality as well. He sees the game differently and has that great mentality. If he makes a mistake and you call him on it, he's not going to make that mistake again. And that's what you want from a number one. And Klingberg, I think, just kind of senses the changing of the guard in that regard. In that regard, he's just not going to be the number one. You can argue he was never a true number one, but during a time when a true number one was seemingly for every team like a really good offensive defenseman, Erik Karlsson, John Carlson, Brent Burns. There was that, a few years ago, there was that point in time where that was your number one. It's changed a bit once again. You need a guy who can do that, but also shut down. Heiskanen is that guy. So to me, it kind of makes sense, Klingberg getting out, but it's also kind of comes out of nowhere at the same time.
Intrigued to see what happens. To wrap up the show, again, a couple more games to talk about here rather quickly. The Avalanche beat the Jets 7-1. The Saskatoon Jets, or I guess that's not happening after all. Nazem Kadri scored his 12th of the year. He is currently second in the league in points per game, only behind Connor McDavid. So, good old Nazem Kadri. Absolutely. Endo's reaction there was priceless.
If you can contain him.
Kerfoot better, right?
Oh my God.
Kerfoot in that one season of Tyson Barrie. It's the way to go. Landeskog also.
That's all I have to say. If you can contain Nazem Kadri and his idiocy, he's great. If you can't, he's terrible. That's it.
Landeskog also scored a hat trick in that game. I think that was, what was I saying, like his first hat trick in forever, if not his first ever. That's ridiculous as that is. 13 goals for him now. Rantanen with 16. The Avs are sick. This we know. The Arizona Coyotes beat the Chicago Blackhawks 6-4 last night. Johan Larsson with a hat trick for his first 3 goals of the season. Shout out to Leafs legend Travis Boyd, who has 8 goals on the season.
Yo, Boyd.
Keller has 11. My favorite Blackhawk, Alex DeBrincat, 21st goal of the season. Make him captain. In this game, Arizona took their first 2-goal lead of the season. Their 32nd game of the year, they took their first 2-goal lead of the season.
Wait, like, you mean won by 2 goals or just had a 2-goal lead?
This was the first time all season they were leading by more than a goal. Their first 2-goal lead of the season.
That's a hilarious fucking stat. Like that's a stat you would maybe expect to be back in the 90s during the expansion era. Like what?
Fuck. What's going on?
They also recorded their first empty net goal of the season in the same game.
Oh, wait, no. Was that the one that put them up by 2?
No, they were up 2-0 at the end of the first.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
It's like, that'd be technically 0 seconds with the lead. So technically they wouldn't have ever had the 2-goal lead if that was the case.
Yeah. Yeah, depending on what it was. So ridiculous. The Coyotes are 7-22-3, so it's not overly surprising, but also at the same time, how was this your first 2-goal lead of the season? As well for the Coyotes, I mean, he won't be the top name in the rookie race, but rookie defenseman Giannis Moser has 3 points now in 5 games. He's 21 years old, was taken as an overage defenseman out of Switzerland, 60th overall in this year's draft. So despite the fact that the Coyotes have had an interesting history with trying to draft in the past couple of years, they might have actually found a little bit of a gem. So good for them. They finally got one. The Coyotes finally had something good happen to them. It doesn't normally happen that way. Chris Kreider watch. The Golden Knights beat the Rangers 5-1, but Kreider scored his 21st of the year. Sin's favorite, Jonathan Marchessault, though, had a 2-goal game. He's up to 18 on the year. And the final game that we're going to talk about is the Nashville Predators beating the LA Kings 4-2. Forsberg scored again, just to reiterate that Nashville should probably re-sign him. He has 18 on the year. Matt Duchene has his 14th. UC Saros made 46 saves.
That's my king.
In this game. 46 of 48. Our short king.
Short king, juicy Saras. Let's go.
My God. Now this comes from
stat
Adam.
is incredible.
That's nuts.
This comes from Adam Vingan, I believe it is. Vingan on Twitter. UC Saros in his past 51 starts. 34 wins. First in that time frame. A 207 goals against average. A 934 save percentage, which is first in that time frame. A 942 even strength save percentage, first in that time frame. A 42.19 goals saved above average, as given by Natural Stat Trick. That's first in that time. All of these stats, a minimum of 10 starts. Remember when we talked about the Sharks last episode and talked about the goaltending?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, like a minus 17 goals saved above average or expected. UC Saros at a 42. He, as much as I talked about Philip Forsberg, UC Saros is willing this team into the playoff conversation and might be, for all the times we've mentioned already just in this episode alone of underappreciated players, he might be the most unappreciated.
Yeah.
UC Saros is an absolute freak.
I got two things to say about that. Number one, his only stat that wasn't in first is arguably the stat that's more attributed to the team, which is goals against average. Insane. Number two, your Finnish scout is a god, Nashville. I mean, you had Pekarinen, now you got UC Saros. What the hell? It's unreal. Just unreal the level of talent, of Finnish goaltending talent that Nashville has picked up. And it's really defined their existence and defined their competitiveness.
The crazy thing is, though, I'm looking at goalie save percentage, and amongst goalies with at least 10 starts, he's only 6th in terms of pure save percentage at a 928. You have Freddie Anderson directly ahead of him at a 929. Anthony Stolarz in 10 games has a 932, the backup for the Ducks. And then the top three. So I don't even know. I mean, UC Saros might not even be in the Vezina conversation. The top three right now: Tristan Jarry.
Motherfucker.
As Sin's car alarm goes off.
No, it's not mine. It's this overly
Oh, no?
sensitive. No, this
Somebody-
fucking guy. Hold on. Sorry.
That's hilarious.
This fucking guy.
And I want your thoughts on these numbers while Sin waits this out. God.
This fucking dude, fucking hell.
This fucking guy.
Juicy, UC.
Hold on. These numbers. These are the top three goalies right now in terms of save percentage. Tristan Jarry at a 933. Yeah, can't make a glove save. Tristan Jarry at a 933 for the Penguins. Shesterkin for the Rangers a 936, and Jack Campbell a 939 through 25 appearances.
Those are good numbers. Those are
Again,
very
UC
good
Saros is
numbers.
at a 928, and he might not even be in the top three right now because
Yeah.
Campbell, Shesterkin, and Jarry are unreal this year.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. UC alone, he is setting up this weird standard right now for goalies where the status quo was like, oh, you got to be at least 6 foot tall to like play in net and be a goaltender in the NHL. And now he's got a whole bunch of kids, myself included, who are like under 6 foot, being like, hey, maybe I can make the show. Maybe I could do it. And this could be the big time where we see smaller goalies get back in because of the certain play style that Saros has. I've been watching a lot of tape on how he plays to implement in my game when I played beer league and be more active and acrobatic. And it's good to see that he's putting in the work and getting the numbers up too. He's, man, I got no words. He's just that good right now. Is this the new meme that Tree's going to start? UC Saros is just too good right now.
I was going to say, the Pekarinen is so hot right now meme will never die. It just evolves.
Yeah, it just goes to another Finnish goaltender. I feel bad because last season with the bubble, when Kazimir Kaskasuo moved over there with to sign a 1-year contract. It was like you had 3 Finnish goaltenders. You had Rene, you had Soros, and you had Kaskasuo. And I feel bad for Kaskasuo because I think he can be an NHL goaltender. And now he's over there playing in Leksand and absolutely killing it with their team. But it's just like now that you see who they went with, it's like I don't blame them, to be honest.
So with that, gentlemen, solid show. We had a lot to catch up on. There was a lot of news actually in the past couple of days and some conversations that we didn't get to have just because of how kind of crazy the schedule's been. Again, every Tuesday and Friday we will be here. Well, Sin will alternate Tuesdays because of his incredibly busy schedule, but that is more than okay. At the very least, Endo and I will be here on Tuesday. We will be back again. Of course, you can check out Endo on the Twitters, on the Twitch at Endo Mills.
Yeah.
Well, you're still streaming.
I stream a little bit. I'm gonna be changing up some stuff over there. If you ever wondered how a Tougie 24 video, have you ever wondered have you had a dream when you no, have you ever wondered how a Tougie 24 video gets edited? I may be doing live editing streams, just breaking down how I do it and how I process everything. Just because I'm looking for more new stuff to do. I'm kind of sick and tired of playing NHL. Although the game's just like a succubus where you just want to keep playing, but you hate it so much. Twitch.tv/EndNoelMills. You can follow me on Twitter, EndNoelMills. And possibly YouTube content coming out soon. I don't really know. I have a big backlog of stuff that I have to get done. So that's me.
Yes, you do. And Sin, of course, on YouTube, on the Twitters. Anything else going on?
No.
No.
Just not that anyone out there would probably care. Not that I could even show anyone. I have a lot going on in my life, but yeah, I'm a sports guy here, so no one cares about Warhammer.
Warhammer's awesome. What are you talking about?
Catch Sin on YouTube. Sim for the Win Productions, of course. Catch some hockey content. Watch the other stuff too. Support your boys with whatever they do. You can also support your boys at Manscaped. Use code Tougie. But support your boys in whatever they do. You can also catch Sin and I. We jumped the gun by a week. Everything was pushed back a week, but that is okay. You can also catch Sin and I starting this Monday over on twitch.tv/NHL Gamer. We will be doing the commentary work for the Premier Sixes esports side of things, of course, for the NHL landscape. Very excited for that. Again, twitch.tv/NHL Gamer, NHLgamer.com. That'll be at about 2 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Will be our first deal there. So very excited for that. Of course, you can catch me everywhere, Tougie24. A big thank you to our friends at Manscaped for sticking with this show. Again, we will be back on Tuesday. Go listen to some Linkin Park and laugh at how bad the Oilers are constructed. I don't know. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you soon.